Hi guys, welcome to our session tonight. We are going to be talking about stress, the effects that stress has on us, and some relaxation techniques to run through. So we'll just wait a few minutes so we can build a little bit of an audience and we'll get straight on to it. Another warm night here on the Sunshine Coast. Not as bad as last week, thank goodness. Still sitting here quite warm. All right, well, let's get started. So good evening again and welcome to our session and discussion, if you like, on stress. So last week we talked about emotions and how crucial they were to recognize what they were and how to feel them in terms of how long we allow those emotions to consume us, and what we can do as an alternative to hanging on to them. So this week's is a nice flow on from that, and we're going to give you some tips, discussions, topics about how we can let go of some of that stress that might be consuming you and us, as it often does. So first of all, I want to begin with letting you guys know that stress, we might not be familiar with the term called stress threshold. So what that is, for example, someone that has a low stress threshold, bit of a tongue twister, may only require something very, very minor or very easy to trigger their stress levels. Whereas someone that has a high stress threshold, it may take them quite a substantial experience for them to be triggered into stress. And a lot of this is determined from pre-birth. So you might like to have a chat to your mum if you can and ask her what was her pregnancy like. How were her stress levels during her pregnancy with you? And that might help you identify with whether you have a low or a high stress threshold. Interesting. So moving on from there, we have different types of effects of stress and what happens when it's triggered in us. So a lot of the time when it's triggered, we'll feel these experiences like the parasympathetic nervous system is triggered, if you like. And what happens is often we'll go into a fight or flight mode. And you're probably thinking, what is that? What does that mean? What it feels like to be in that mode is often when it's similar to fear, when fear is experienced. So the heart rate increases. You might notice short of breath, that you could start sweating. I'm not sweating because I'm stressed. I'm sweating because it's hot. Tightness in the chest even. You may feel a little sick. Your pupils may dilate. There's quite a lot that goes on. Blushing. So that's the fight or flight response that we have when we're feeling stressed. And there's more. Some of them are unrecognized symptoms that we could look into further. But we're trying to keep these discussions fairly simple so it's not too much information or goes into too much detail, if you like. What happens when we're in that moment is a chemical is released. It's cortisol, and it's released, and it's there to aid you and mop up that stress that's going on. There's lots of hormones that are released when we're in that fight and flight mode, and there's both calming chemicals as well. However, if they're unbalanced, if one is, hello girls, nice to see you. Sorry, I got started already. But you can rewind, not rewind, that's the old-fashioned days. You can go back and listen to the very beginning if you like. So we're just talking about stress tonight and how to relax. But we're starting with the technical stuff in terms of why we feel stress or what triggers it. And often we're also noticing that there are certain symptoms when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated through that stress. Hello guys, hi Karen. we notice certain things within us, like the heart rate starts to increase, we feel a little blushed, the chest can tighten, we can feel a little sick, a little nauseated, start to sweat a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, I'm not sweating because I'm stressed, I'm sweating because it's really hot up here. So there's some symptoms that are quite noticeable when we have triggered that stress and we've released those hormones that are dealing with that stressful situation. So that's a little detailed, I know, but I guess I wanted everyone to realize the impact and the seriousness of the impact that stress has on our bodies and the toll that it will eventually take. So you could imagine if your body's releasing those hormones, trying to deal with that stressful situation time and time again, and it's not dealt with correctly, it does take a toll on us, and it takes a toll on the body, and it takes a toll on the mind. So I wanted to talk about how do we deal with that. If you had a chance to listen last week, you may recall we were talking about emotions, and how well they consume us also. We did talk about that 90-second option where we can let it go. So let that thought come into your mind, let that emotion surface. So if we're talking, for example, now we're talking about stress. So if we let it surface, it's up to us as to how long we actually hang on to that and what we do with it. So it can dissipate and leave, or we can entertain it and we can stay there for a little longer. So here's some tips tonight, guys, on how to get rid of or reduce that stress when you're in that moment of time where it's not feeling so great. You can basically allow that feeling to surface, allow those symptoms to take toll, and then take a nice deep breath and allow yourself a moment to think a little clearly. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's easier said than done. When something's triggered in you and you just don't know how to control it, it's not always that easy just to stand there and take a breath and rethink it, right? Being mindful regularly actually will allow you to do that, believe it or not. When you are mindful more regularly, you are retraining your brain. You are giving that nervous system a chance to settle right down and be in control more often than not. So here's some tips. Here's some good things that you can do regularly that won't make you feel like it's too hard or it's time consuming or it's not in your nature to do. These are really simple, easy things to do. So practicing meditation is a personal thing, and you can do that in many, many ways. So that's another topic altogether. But if you're interested in meditating, we will go into that a lot more. Deep breathing, we take it for granted. That balance of breath coming in the body and breath leaving the body can bring you back down to a place of thinking a lot more clearly. Simple things like being aware of where you are, really engaging in a conversation. I don't know about you guys, but years ago, not so much now, I would often have conversations with people and I would just be somewhere else. My mind would be somewhere else. I even may be looking somewhere else. I wasn't engaged in the conversation. And when I started to learn about mindfulness and retrain my own self and experience what that felt like, it was just such a shift in me. And it felt so great to be able to really be present in a conversation with another human being and fully engaged in it and not let your mind wander. So maybe you could even try that if that's something that you've noticed within yourself. Accepting things that can't change. One of the greatest causes of stress is resisting of what is. If you're, for example, okay, not all of you will be driving, I'm trying to think of another example. Let's just use an example of being held up anywhere, whether you're in a car, you're on your way to somewhere, and you're held up for some reason, and that frustration, that stress, you can't simply do anything about it. You really just have to bide the time and get to where you're going. So instead of sitting there and really creating that anxiety again and that stress, You just got to go with it. I'll share with you today. I had an appointment that I needed to be at 12:30, and it was teaching a brand new class about meditation and mindfulness. I really needed to be there with a clear head, at least 10 minutes beforehand, just to go through, get my composure, feel, where I needed to be in that space to be able to deliver the message, because it's really important to me when I talk about what I teach that I am present enough to be able to give the best I can and deliver it the best I can. So anyway, here I am thinking I've left plenty of time to get to where I needed to be, and I forget, living here on the Sunshine Coast now, that things can go wrong really quickly on highways. Most of where we go, it's a highway connection to the next town. And the lovely lady on my GPS is saying, to take another route. And I'm thinking, why? Like, that's not the right way. I can't afford to be late here. Anyway, there was a hold up on the Bruce Highway, and it was a good 10 or 15 minutes. It was going to put me well behind time, excuse me. And I could feel myself getting either upset or taking on board that I just need to get there in one piece and just trust that I will get there without it being too much of a drama. Just relax. Take me back 5 years ago, I would have been an absolute basket case. I would have been like tapping on the steering wheel. I would have been stressing out, holding the forehead. I would have been all those things, those emotions that we talked about. I would have been sweating. I would have been feeling ill. I just would have been freaking out because I needed to be there, and I'm a perfectionist. So if I'm late or if I fail at something, I just don't cope, right, by nature. Having said that, with all these practices over the years, I was really in control today. I just did what I had to do, and I just trusted that I'd get there, and I kind of, did what I had to do, and I was 1 minute early after all that. So, that's not always going to pan out that way, I know. But the moral behind that is, what difference does it make to you? A hell of a lot. If you stay calm in a situation, or if you just lose it, you are really affecting yourself in a big way. It's your choice at the end of the day. Really try to, every situation that you're in, try to go with it and accept it. Don't resist it. Don't create that anxiety and that stress in your body. It's not good for you. So that's a big tip. Accepting things as they are. Don't resist them. Practice non-judgment. So our minds will automatically judge. But release that judgment as quickly as it comes into your head, and it will just take care of those thoughts. If we judge a situation or something and decide to stay there, it will really create stress in the body. It will build up over time. Like I said, naturally things are going to pop into our head from time to time. Let them go. Just replace it with something else. A great way to start your day is being mindful. And I know we are trained to jump out of bed and just get on with our day. Or some of you might be thinking, jump. No, I don't jump, but that's okay. Getting up and getting into your day is enough. Look, without even a daily practice routine, you could simply just be lying in bed awake and be thankful or be grateful for the fact that you are lying there awake. And you have an opportunity. It's a brand new day. You have an opportunity to make things really, really good for you. That's a great positive way to start the day. And you're being mindful before you even put your feet on the ground. Send love out to others is another nice way to be mindful. People that you feel for or would like to help along with their journey. For example, you might have a friend or a family member who might be suffering a little bit. You might like to send a little love their way, which is always going to make you feel good as well when you're thinking those nice thoughts. So these are all ways to reduce stress. These are all ways to bring those feel-good hormones into your day or into your present moment. This has probably got to be my favorite. And Dan, if you're listening, because I know you're there, you'll agree with this. My beautiful friend Dan and I have had some good times doing this. Laughter. Really good bellyache laughters say that it can allow 45 minutes of relaxation. How bizarre is that? A really good laugh can actually relax your body up to 45 minutes. How easy is that? Like, look, when I say how easy is that, I mean when the opportunity is there. I'm not saying when you're stressed out, just try to burst into laughter or ask the closest person to start tickling you, because that's probably a little unrealistic, right? But it's good to know when you are in company of others or when you have an opportunity and you can get into that state and that fit of laughter, you're actually going to be relaxing as well. That's why it feels so damn good. So that's another good little tip for you. Look, things like being present even in the shower. Often I guess people look at the shower as a time to think about things again. If you can switch the thinking mind off and think about just the water falling over your body, smell the soap, or notice things about how you feel in the shower. Like, it might sound a little crazy, but what that is just being mindful. So if you get the picture, it's being present. If you're in the car, rather than looking at your phone if you're a passenger, or finding ways to keep your mind occupied, just look out the window. I mean, a lot of us are fortunate that we live in beautiful places and we're surrounded by great things to look at. And again, trust me, I practice these things all the time. The kids and I bike ride to school every day, and there's a lot of chatter that goes on, but I'm actually in a position now where I can look around and I see things that I've never noticed before. I didn't notice certain things about trees or the birds or the butterflies. Sometimes they could have all been flying around my head, or I wouldn't have seen them because I was just too stressed and too busy with getting to my destination. I didn't even think about how beautiful it was to be in that moment. So guys, hopefully you can take a little bit of that on board, and any opportunity you get to be present and to be mindful will definitely start allowing you that opportunity more frequently, so that when you are in a high stressed situation, your mind is not the mind it used to be. It will engage the situation in a different way, and you will definitely be able to cope better. I can say that because I have practiced it, and I feel like I'm a different person nowadays to that high stressed, anxious person that wouldn't cope under stress at all. So interestingly, like we said earlier, for those who missed the first little bit tonight, I suggested that you guys ask your mum what her pregnancy was like with you, to identify whether you have a low or a high stress threshold. If you're the sort of person that gets triggered very, very easily, if simple little things trigger your stress levels, then you have a low stress threshold, and that could be quite possibly something to do with your pregnancy. Your mum may have been quite stressed, for example. I again experienced that. I was really stressed with my pregnancy with one of my daughters, and I know that her stress threshold is very low. Little things really do upset her. Whereas if you have a high stress threshold, it could take something rather major to trigger your stress. So it's interesting to have a little look at that. So there's some tips on how to be mindful. So relaxing is, I don't know, interesting. Guys, does it mean something different to all of you? And there's no right or wrong answer. If you find something relaxing, then that's a great thing to do, so long as it doesn't involve, things that really aren't that good for you. Some of us think that doing certain things like drinking alcohol is relaxing, and I think that what happens when that's a situation for some people, it's more like a comfort. Not that you teenage kids will be experiencing any of that, I'm sure, just yet. However, you may know people that talk like that, and that might be a belief that you start to believe without you realizing it. You'll become of an age where you think, well, that's okay because people around me do it and they're happy and they're relaxed. But I want you guys to know that there are options here at your age and younger, for you to implement relaxation in your own self, for you to feel relaxed without having to say you need something. You don't need a substance, or you don't need to digest anything. You just need to learn how to breathe, how to focus, and how to let go. So that's why we do things like guided meditations. And like I was sharing with you earlier, today I did a class for some young girls, and they hadn't experienced meditation before, or one had, and she couldn't quite relax. So what we did today was we did some movement. So we did like some Qigong practice, which is a Tai Chi type movement. I'll explain it like that so you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a little bit easier to say that. And we did a couple of little stretches where we released the hips and the hamstrings, and we just focused on letting go through the breath and the movement. The music was nice, it was peaceful, and then we went into a guided meditation, and it was really, really relaxing. And that's the whole thing. I mean, choose something that makes you feel like you're going to gain from it, and you'll know that because you'll be able to feel it. And I can't emphasize it enough. The sooner you can start practicing that sort of thing, the sooner you make a relationship with feeling good about yourself, the sooner you'll be able to cope with really high stressed situations and be quite diplomatic and in control. And ultimately, that's what we want. We want to know that when we're confronted with something that's going to create that stress, that we've got some tools and we've got some things up our sleeve that we can use. Or even better, with practice, that it just comes naturally to us, that we are that new and improved version of ourselves, if you like. So of course I say that, and it really does depend on your age and your life experiences so far, and what you choose to do and how you choose to spend your time. And that's very broad, because we're all quite different. But I just wanted to sort of keep those options out there for everybody, that it's doable for everybody. So maybe you could think about some ways yourself and even write them down if you're still interested in writing parts of what we talk about in our discussions weekly. If you do have a little notebook or a pad that you're keeping our information on, that's really, really good. The reason why I say it's great to write things down is because within the next half an hour, it's gone. We're into doing something else. Our concentration has gone on this topic. So I really do encourage people just to write things down as they come to you, so you can reflect on them or refer to them at a later stage where you think that was quite good information, and it would be handy for you to reread again. So these weekly discussions are just to open your mind a little bit and to give you some ideas and things to think about, things that you can write down, things that you can try out. And if we eventually get to the stage where we can do a meditation live, that would be really cool as well. So there's plenty of options there. But does anybody that's online with us now have anything they want to ask about relaxation techniques, or they want to share something that they do that might be useful to somebody else that's listening? Because again, that's what it's all about. I mean, I'm more than happy to talk and share and pass on what I've practiced and learnt and what I feel good to do. But I think it's really nice that other people have their experiences to share as well, because we're all a little bit different from one another, and what works for one certainly may work for someone else. So if you guys got anything you want to share, just type it in and we can share that as well. But if not, that's perfectly fine. Of course, as always, like I said, this is just an opportunity to hear a little bit about how our body's working, how we can figure ourselves out a little bit better, what sort of things that we can implement that are going to benefit us, over a period of time to create more longevity in our life. So we've got a question here. Is there a good beginner's meditation you know of for teens? Not off the top of my head for me to say direct you to, a certain meditation, because again, I think, like I look at the kids that I teach that are younger than teens, and I can put different types of meditation music on in my workshops with them, and some of them love the piano, some of them love the bowls, some of them love the Tai Chi music. So I really think that it's something quite personal to all of us, and different things are calming for different people. Some of us like the sound of the ocean, or the sound of the rain, and it might annoy another person. So that's not going to work, if you know what I mean. Having said all that, that is music-based related meditations. I'm more than happy to share with you guys a guided meditation that I've recorded that doesn't have the music. It's just simply words, and it's a physical, it's a way of relaxing the body physically without actually having to do any movement or any stretching or anything like that. So I can definitely get that out to you guys. If you're interested, please just let me know, and I can send that to you on Dropbox. That's all ready to go. But what I would suggest is you find what you like and you find what is relaxing to you. Again, without pointing out the obvious, we can click onto a meditation and find someone's voice pretty irritating. So that's sure not going to be relaxing. Or we could, quite the opposite, click on and find someone's voice that is just perfect for you. So I'll also add to that, when we're a little stressed or a lot stressed, and we talked earlier about our threshold being limited or being low, that's the same with when we're listening to certain, decibels and sounds. So if we're a little stressed and we're listening to a sound that's really high pitched, that's not going to be helpful. So it really is important to spend a little bit of time, I think, on researching through, sifting through the things that you like. And, who am I to say this should relax you? You might just go, great, but it doesn't. And I've read a lot of comments over time of people commenting on other people's relaxation or meditation choices. And it pretty much does boil down to that. So, yeah, I hope, no worries, that answers your question. Thanks for asking, Dan. Does anyone else have any questions that they would like to ask tonight? And like I said, please let me know if you're interested in listening to that guided meditation that I've recorded. Just message me and I would be more than happy to send it to you guys. And yeah, try it out. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. A lot of people like that guided meditation because that's exactly what it is. You feel like you've got that that guidance with you. So you don't just have to lie there looking around the room or feeling a little flustered or a little anxious that you're not relaxing yet and like, what do I do? And trust me, I've been there. I've been everything we've talked about tonight. I've been there. I've been that major stress head, anxiety mess, can't relax. I don't want to relax. I didn't want to sit still. These are all the things that were going through my mind, yet it was weird. I had this attraction, this desire to try it. And once I was able to do it, I absolutely loved it. And now I believe that it was my time to have that shift in my life so that I could also share. If you don't know me very well on a personal level, I've been teaching fitness since I was 15, so teaching's always been a part of me. It's in my heart. I love to teach what I learn, and I love being part of a culture that develops and grows, and it was fitness back then because I love to see everybody get fit and healthy and feel amazing. Now what I'm loving is seeing people tune into themselves and understand themselves better. It's just such a incredible journey to go on, and it's personal, but it can be shared with other people. And I think it's really, really important that you at least Allow yourself that downtime to get rid of the tension, get rid of the stress. Allow your mind just to focus on whatever it might be at that time. Like we talked about earlier, it could just be simply looking at something that's beautiful to you. That's enough. It could be just breathing, feeling the breath, noticing the breath, making that breath count. When we breathe in, we're re-energizing. Really focus on that. That's enough. The sounds that you choose to listen to, the voice that you choose to listen to, they're the things that are going to allow you to get into that state of mind where it's just for you. It really is. It's a process, and it's something that it takes time, and I would suggest baby steps. So the other important key that I'd like to share with you guys when we're talking about learning something is exactly that. We're learning it. Remember that. It's like learning. Remember how you learned how to ride a bike, or roller skating, or any skill that you've learned in life. It takes time. It takes practice. So if you're learning, you've chosen to learn how to meditate or how to be mindful, just keep reminding yourself that that's exactly what you're doing. You're learning something new. Don't judge yourself. Don't get annoyed with yourself. Don't get flustered. If it's not quite what you expected the first time, look into it for a little longer. Find out if there's another way that you could be mindful, or another style of meditation. Trust me, there's plenty to choose from. And that's the key, finding that one type that will help you at that time. Having said that, it may also change. Being mindful and choosing to be mindful and choosing to meditate and give back to yourself is a healing experience, and you will grow from that. So you may find you might start looking at another way or another option for you to move forward in your little journey, if you like. And that might change again. So that's why it's really important not to be judgmental of yourself. And again, I've been there too. I've sort of wondered why this is not happening, or read things that other people were experiencing and I'm not. Trust me, it's not about that. It is just about you taking some time out to give back to yourself, to feel re-energized, to totally relax that body. When you think about it, from the time we get up in the morning, we put our feet on that ground and we get on with our day, whatever it may entail, the body just doesn't stop. The mind doesn't stop. I believe, apparently, we have somewhere between 50 and 70,000 thoughts a day. That's insane. And, like that, all the overthinkers, that could even be more. So, it's pretty crucial when you look at some of the facts, or when you actually just look at your day and say, wow, when do I give back to myself? I flog myself physically, I flog myself mentally. When does that stop? Even if you're sitting in front of the telly, you're still absorbed in a program. You're still, your thought of your pattern of thought is there, and that could be, taking your day to a heightened stress, even, depending on what program you're watching. And then we hop into bed. So it's really important, if you can find that, look, just start with 5 minutes a day, in the morning and in the night, or either or. If you're a morning person, start your morning that way. If you prefer night, just to have that downtime after you do your normal routine, have some time out to listen to a guided meditation or listen to your breath. Physically allow that body just to sink into your mattress or your mat or your chair or wherever you might choose to be, and just allow some downtime. I'm sure you will benefit from it in a huge way. And it is discipline, it's commitment. But like you guys know, it doesn't matter what we choose to do in life. It requires commitment. And if we want to learn something and feel good, then we just got to keep going with it, and notice the changes as we go along without being hard. Just try to be the observer of what's going on. And there's plenty of wonderful people out there who are happy to help you and give you advice. I'm one of them. If there's anything at all at any time that you're questioning or you're concerned about or you want to discuss, please let me know, because I would love to give you some guidance perhaps, or share with you what you're experiencing, and discuss it. So again, guys, it is a personal journey when we talk about meditation and mindfulness, and we got there tonight through talking about stress and talking about our emotions last week. It brings us to a place of we must take control of those times and those emotions, and we must do something good for ourselves and really learn how to let them go and how to feel after that. So I hope that's some helpful tips there for you tonight. And it can seem like it gets a little serious, because I'm very passionate about people knowing how damn wonderful you are and how capable you are, and really how much in control you can be when you start giving back to yourself. And the other thing that comes with that is the love you find for yourself. When you stop judging yourself, and when you make that effort to stop judging others and accepting things the way they are, like I said earlier, accept that you might be late, accept that you're held up, you're still alive, it's okay, breathe, stay present, you'll get through it. That all shifts, and eventually you become more of that calm person. And that's a really great thing for you, for the people around you, for the immediate family, your friends, for your community. I mean, imagine if we all took 10 minutes a day just to feel, just to re-energize, just to relax, just to chill out. Like, seriously, what's 10 minutes in our whole day when you think about what you get through and what you get done? And, you know, honestly, guys, if we can start implementing that 10 minutes and give back to yourself, you're going to feel so much more better. I really hope you do take that little challenge on, and let me know if you're interested in me sending you that guided meditation. You could give it a try, see what you think. Again, it's all about experiencing different things, and see how you go. But I could talk all night, and I don't have a little alarm. I don't have a clock in here in this space. I don't even know how long I talk for each night that we get on live. So I really think that it's great that you guys are joining in and checking in and having a little bit of a listen. Maybe even if you think it's worthy to share this live with someone else in your life, we can just continue to help one another and bring different things into our lives. There's a little saying that's out there: when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. You don't have to be a teacher in terms of a qualified teacher. You could just be a beautiful friend sharing some information with another beautiful friend, and you know, that's what life's all about. So thank you guys for allowing me this opportunity to share what I'm so passionate about and I love so much, and I hope it's making a somewhat of a difference in your life. And I'll look forward to seeing or hearing back from you guys. If you have any questions, like I said, please let me know. Message me or email me. Most of you have my contact, so you can get me through my Facebook page as well. Otherwise, I'll leave next week as a little surprise. I haven't quite decided, but I think we will definitely do some sort of meditation, but we'll keep those discussions open. Beautiful. That's so good, Marianne. I'm so glad to hear that. Perhaps tonight has inspired you to get back into a routine, and that again, sometimes we just need that little push, that gentle reminder. Guys, don't forget to look out for yourself, because you know, if you don't, I'm not saying there's no one else out there for us, but we really do have to be responsible for ourselves. We have to own it. We have to take charge of it. And we have to take care of things that happen to us. And a lot of it is through our mindset. So enjoy some relaxation. Enjoy some mindfulness. And until next week, take lots of good care and see if you can start a new routine. And let me know how it goes. Thanks again for joining me tonight, guys. Take care. See you soon. Bye.